was a one-point matchup a season ago, as we are now underway, and it's the visiting Ducks with the first possession here at Carver Hawkeye Arena, one of the best crowds you'll find in the nation in women's basketball. This is a fan base that has been top 10 nationally in attendance in each of the past 6 seasons, but it's an early turnover here for the Ducks as there's a foul called on Ahis Atute. First team foul on the first possession. Rather, foul called on Mia Jacobs. So quick turnover there for the Ducks. Our officiating crew led by farther.
Get to the end of conference and, you know, just now start playing in those types of games. So maybe they can try to figure out how to, you know, really close the games out.
Hayden goes flying to the floor as she tried to save what was nearly a steal for the Oregon Ducks, as Atute does get called for the foul this time. So her first, team second. And there is head coach Jan Jensen in her second season as the head coach here at Iowa, but spent multiple decades on the bench here as an assistant and an associate head coach for legend Lisa Bluter, who just retired prior to last season. Coach Jensen, really growing into this head coaching role, has done an elite job with rebuilding this team as Hayden tries to put it off the glass in the post-Caitlin Clark era. A lot of young players on this team as Stolke gets a hand on it. Nice steal.
A great hustle, getting back on D and getting the steal.
Feuerbach almost gets her own miss. Atute takes it away. Fourth straight start for Atute, pushing pace. Jacobs. Atute, the offensive board. Bell.
Man, nothing seems to be falling tonight.
Slow start for both teams from beyond the arc. Neither team has made a 3 yet, both 0 for 3 so far from deep.
Here we see Iowa executing that half court that they love.
A little bit too aggressive there. It was Ari Long called for her first. Third team foul as well here for Oregon in the early going. Layla Hayes checking in here for the Hawkeyes, the freshman center who's been a great addition, 6'5", Alaska native. State champion in high school, getting some early action here, replacing Ava Hayden. Hayes, I've been told by some of her teammates, extremely funny, big personality. Stolke, one of the senior leaders, tries to put it up through traffic. Hayes almost reels in the rebound, but it's going the other way, Ducks ball.
I mean, they're really getting the shots that they want. They're getting to the rim, they're going up strong, and it just doesn't seem to be falling just yet.
Just yet, the key word there. Oregon still looking for their first field goal. Meanwhile, Iowa 0 for 4 their last couple field goal attempts. Jacobs, Long, can heat up from beyond the arc, too strong that time. Hawkeyes pushing pace again. Ducks doing a pretty good job of getting back in transition thus far. Feuerbach, nice pass. Hayes goes charging in, and it is in fact a charge as she's called for the offensive foul.
That was great positioning to get your feet set and get everybody. Yep, she reads it and she knows where to be exactly. Hands up. That's just a very smart defensive move by Atute.
This Oregon team known for being disruptive defensively in terms of being one of the leaders in terms of turnovers forced, but Coach Kelly Graves said they've also really been working on their team defense. He said he knows they'll have to be on a string tonight to slow down this Hawkeyes team. Speaking of slowing down, Iowa's defense slowing down Oregon in the half court. Corner tray opportunity, misses everything. Ducks 0 for 7 to start out this game. Right with a deep three ball, and it goes down.
I mean, when Chit-Chat Wright gets going early on, you know, I feel like she's really the head of the snake for Iowa. She really sets the tone.
Coach Jensen said today that Wright pushing pace is going to be super important in this game as Atute gets her own miss. Second chance points for the Ducks. First made field goal of the game for this Oregon squad, now within 4. Journey Houston, another freshman for the Iowa Hawkeyes, has checked in, along with Taylor Stremlow, who had been starting prior to Feuerbach re-entering the lineup in this game. Taken away, Ari Long, so disruptive. Gets it back from Bell, ends up going out. Fiso knocks it down from the corner.
There's one thing I really love about Oregon's defense is they switch it up all the time.
Chit-chat right goes to ground. In a lot of pain there on the far sideline, as this can be deceptively painful.
And they last for a long time.
Exactly. So something to keep an eye on for sure, as we're back underway here at Carver Hawkeye Arena. Hayes stays in the game, the freshman center. Really pretty well guarded down there on the post. Atute with the steal. Jacobs thought about the shot. They have to pass it around. We'll pull it back out. Crowd making some noise here. And there is an offensive foul called. Turnover here, Hawkeyes ball. And by the way, that last foul before the break committed by Katie Fiso was the 4th. This is the 5th. So Atute called for her 2nd foul, 5th team foul here in this first quarter for the Oregon Ducks. So that means Iowa's now in the bonus for the last 3:40 of this first quarter. Something to keep an eye on as well. Chit-chat right, back in the game. Good news here for the Hawkeyes. Hayden from the elbow, also good news for the Hawkeyes.
Having the post player that can shoot that 15 mid-range is, I mean, it's so important. Really spreads the offense out, makes the defense work.
Fiso, a guard, shooting it from that same spot. However, rattles out. It's interesting you say that, though, Nikki, as Wright is feeling it. Hits it off iron, but the rebound could not be corralled there by Sarah Rambis, who's just checked in. So Hawkeyes get another opportunity. What I was going to say, though, is Kelly Graves actually said when it comes to picking your poison and defending this Iowa team, he was like, yeah, with some of the zone we're going to be running, we're okay with living with some of those corner shots. He said it's better than letting their big shoot it right under the basket, right?
He's got a point.
Well, like I was just saying, it's kind of pick your poison with this Iowa team. They've got shooters, they've got players who can get it done down low, and you've got Ava Hayden who can put it on the deck. Stolke almost came up with the board.
They've got such a dominant presence down in the post, and they, maybe they're not falling right now, but they are still making a presence.
Yeah, you've seen Oregon run out that zone here in the first quarter as Fiso's shot won't go, and that was another product of what this Iowa team can do inside. Coach Graves saying that, they do feel like that can be effective in throwing this Hawkeyes team a little bit off. Stolke, as you can see, not able to really go anywhere. Addison Deal, another freshman, top 100 recruit out of high school into the game. Time running out for the Hawkeyes. Nice pass, and Hayden makes them pay.
They're really trying to get it in the post as much as they can, and it obviously worked for them.
11-6 lead here for the Hawkeyes, and that ends a 2-17 scoring drought for the Ducks. Bell there knocking down the mid-range shot. Bell, a player who can get hot in a hurry, coming off the career-high 18 points against Michigan State. But there's a three-point answer from the freshman, Addie Deal. This is an Iowa team with a ton of exciting young talent. As there's a collision here right in front of us, actually, where we're sitting. It's called Hawkeye ball, but Katie Fiso went to ground, kind of holding her ankle area.
Here they go. They're trying to get it in no matter what. Great pass from Stolke there, and a great three to get them going, get them started.
Feuerbach doing what she does, such a disruptive defender as Iowa gets the possession here with about 90 seconds to go.
I played Feuerbach back in the day, and she has always been so pesky, and I always very much envied her for that.
Hayden also pesky down low. Stolke pesky on the glass. Deal! In the paint! Hawkeyes up 14-9, or 16-9 rather.
Really dominating the offensive board right now. The Hawkeyes are.
Fans on their feet for the final minute of this first quarter. Tuhina into the game, tries a three.
Keena's really good as in her role. She comes in and gives the team the spark that they need.
Right, though, can't get it to go from three. Tuhina shooting well from three, as we just saw her throw one up, 38.5% from deep. As you mentioned, a spark off the bench, but it's Deal out into the passing lane. Out of play, it will stay here.
another player in Deal that comes in and gives that spark. She brings energy, and I think the Iowa team really feeds off of her as well.
Irvine, California native Deal is attended National Powerhouse, Mater Dei High School, a 5-star prospect, widely rated as a top 20 recruit by various evaluating and scouting websites. So big time in terms of this freshman class, and they've made a big impact off the bench in Journey Houston, Addie Deal, and the center Layla Hayes. And then 2 of their 3 leading scorers here are sophomores, so a lot to be excited about when it comes to the future for the Hawkeyes.
Well, and being able to play in games at such a high level, it just can only help you. Like you said, especially for those younger players.
Brief pause here to reset the clock, trying to adjust how much time is on it, adding a second here, so that's the reason for the pause in play. This Iowa team, though, coming in at 14-2 on the season, 5-0 in Big Ten play. Oregon 14-4, 2-3 in Big Ten action, though, as we've mentioned, had a tough start to the schedule. About a 11-second, 12-second difference here, game clock, shot clock.
We see Feuerbach giving that pesky energy up top.
Bell, and she drains it. Nothing but net. Big 3 for the Ducks.
Man, is she a reliable player. You know, she can knock down those shots. She can take you off the dribble. She's got a great size on her that can really help in that way as well.
Hayden with just a couple seconds left gets the inside bucket to go. Buzzer sounds, Ducks could not quite get a shot off. This Oregon zone, what'd you see that was working inside for the Hawkeyes, Nikki and the early going?
They're really getting the ball moving. We know they like to execute, but they're really taking what they get from the defense. Yes, they have a lot down in there, but they're really trying to figure out what works best. Maybe it's that high shot like Hayden just took, because when she starts making that, they're going to have to come out on her. So I think them just trying to figure out and adapt as they go to that defense that Oregon is showing.
Of course, Stolke and Hayden both have that kind of shot in their bag. Both actually have talked in the last year or two about continuing to work on shooting farther away from the basket. So being able to knock those down could be key if that's what the defense is giving. Now, Coach Jensen did mention that post-to-post action, though, really liking that in terms of one finding the other, especially on the weak side, which we did see work a couple of times as Stolke puts it on the deck, kicks it out this time. Feuerbach with a handoff, 7 to shoot. Deal gets into the lane, dribbles it out, and she touched it last.
You know, and the great thing is that if Iowa focuses all of their offense right now in the post, what's going to be open are the guards, and they're going to be able to, you know, do their thing. So Oregon's also going to have to adapt to maybe going back into a man, which I know Coach Graves is so good at changing up the defense and really making the offense work at what they actually want to achieve.
This is an Iowa team that can shoot the 3-ball at a pretty good clip as a team, nearly 36% shooting from beyond the arc, which is 5th best in the Big Ten. As Tuhina gets it inside, late in the shot clock, too strong.
Great, Hezzy.
Right pushing. Deal finds Stolke, good pass, finish, and 1. Hannah Stolke came to play tonight.
Man, you have to reward your post when they run, and that's exactly what happened right there. Great, great play.
6'1" junior Felipa Tilliander was called for the foul, first for the Ducks, and she's actually a player who Coach Graves said would get some time tonight.
What a way to run the court. I mean, she's on both ends of the court. She's running back on defense, and she's really just, again, being dominant on the offensive side.
Stolke with 6 points, leading the team alongside Hayden, the bigs that we talked about. Really efficient, though, 3 of 4 from the floor. Unfortunately, missed the free throws there for the Hawkeyes. 4 boards, 3 assists as well, as he talked about the bigs' big action or the ability to maybe kick it out to some of the open shooters.
They're very smart, especially Stolke being such a veteran. She has played in these games. She knows, you know, when it's there and when it's not. She has very high IQ in that sense.
Yep, one of the senior leaders on this team, a Cedar Rapids, Iowa native. By the way, this is Iowa's largest lead at 8 points. O-board brought in by Jacobs. Good hustle. Fiso working on Hayden, throws it away. Throws it right back to the Ducks, though. Jacobs called for the travel.
Yep, sometimes your feet are just not as quick as your mind. I've had that happen quite a few times. It's frustrating, but I see what she was trying to do. She had someone closing out on her. She's trying to go right past them. She is one of those players that can absolutely get to the rim.
An all Big Ten guard like yourself? That never happened to you, Nikki. Come on now.
Don't look at my stats.
Coach Graves did mention, though, turnover is something to keep an eye on as well. He said we got to take care of the basketballs. Feuerbach knocks down a corner tray. Hawkeyes starting to heat up from beyond the arc after a slow start. 11-point lead, now the largest for the Hawkeyes so far. Ducks need a response here. Driving is long. Feels like everything is rattled out here for the Ducks.
It's, again, great shots. They just aren't falling just quite yet. It seems like they are more and more.
Stolke, meanwhile, draws the foul on the other end. This Oregon team shooting 4 of 19 from the floor. It's a good exclamation point on your point. Nia Jacobs, by the way, called for a second foul.
Here we see Stolke posting up. I mean, she has, when you can see those numbers on her chest, you have to get her that ball. And she's doing a really good job at just being physical overall, not even just when she has the ball, but trying to get that position.
Stolke can't hit the free throw again. So Jacobs now with her second foul did head to the bench. Etute also has 2 fouls. So 2 of the bigs here for the Oregon Ducks gonna have to spend some time on the bench here in the second quarter. Amina Mohammed just checked in, the senior for the Oregon Ducks.
I'd like to see Fiso start, getting some shots and getting into her rhythm. I think that would help with the tempo, with Oregon's tempo just in general, because she's really, what drives them and what gets them down the court.
Sarah Rambis there trying to go up on Ava Hayden, ends up out of play. Hawkeyes basketball. 7 turnovers as well for Oregon. Here, not even midway through the second quarter, but here they're trying to create some of the turnovers, which is what they like to do. Stolke loses the handle, and that's exactly what happens. Mohammed comes away with it.
We know Oregon is so disruptive in their defense, and this is what they want. They want to speed you up on offense.
So maybe if there's offensive struggles, you can turn that defense into offense with some transition play, which is something that Coach Graves said they definitely want to take advantage of in this game whenever they can get those easy 2s. Right now, they're working in the half court. Pass out. Barham knocks down the 3 for the Ducks. Much needed for Oregon.
I mean, getting the ball inside, outside, that's when you're really going to get a rhythm.
Speaking of a rhythm, Taylor McCabe trying to find a rhythm. That one just rolls out. McCabe 0 for 2 now from beyond the arc. A great 3-point shooter, though, on the season is Rambis. Hits a deep 2. Fans on their feet here at Carver Hawkeye Arena. Randomly making some noise, trying to cheer on this team. And they certainly fueled Feuerbach there.
There you go. She said, hand down, man down.
2 made 3s here for Feuerbach in the early going. Now with 6 points, lead back up to 10 for the Hawkeyes. Feuerbach pulls in the rebounds. Right. So quick. Was it a pass? What is it, a shot? We don't know.
It was a pass. I'll give it to you, Chit Chat.
Timeout called as Oregon head coach Kelly Graves is in the ball. Right now, their 2 bigs, Hayden and Stolke, accounting for more than half of the team's points. But Mohammed gets an easy 2 there for the Ducks. Much needed there coming out of the timeout. Oregon now within 10.
They're staying in that zone. Interested to see how they will adapt as the game goes on. And maybe they've made a couple changes in that timeout.
Deflection there as Chit-Chat Wright tried to put up the corner 3. Good defense by Rambis, kind of flying out in the corner.
And one thing about a zone defense, you must attack it. You have to have players, the defensive players drawn into you. If not, it's just a very stagnant offense and defense, really.
Hayes going to work on Rambis, but gets called for the offensive foul. Second time that's happened to Layla Hayes here in this first half.
Might have lifted that arm up a little too high. Rambis did a good job of using it in her favor.
Second foul on Hayes means that Ava Hayden's going to check back in. Addie Deal, Journey Houston also returning here for the Hawkeyes. First team foul there for Iowa. 2 right now at Oregon, midway through the second quarter. Over the top pass. Muhammad getting hot here for Oregon.
Great patience, waiting for Hayden to jump and try to block that and be able to get that shot off.
Muhammad with back-to-back baskets, 2 for 2 here for the Ducks. Maybe they found an answer inside as Deal takes some contact and a foul is called.
Might be the spark that they needed to get their flow started.
Muhammad called for the foul there, 3rd team foul here in the second quarter. It was called on the ground, though, to be clear. That's why there's the baseline inbounds. Deal drives to the basket and gets the bucket.
Great, strong move by Deal.
Love to see that aggression from the freshman. Something Coach Jensen said today is, Muhammad, heat check time, maybe.
Man, she is on fire right now.
3 for 3, 6 points. The Ducks now made 5 of their last 7 field goal attempts. Right back in this here within 8. Got to get a stop on defense, though, as Iowa's made a couple of shots. Stremlow tries from 3. Something that Coach Jensen said, though, about her freshmen is that sometimes they can overthink a little bit. They want to please, they want to follow the game plan, and she's encouraging them to just be free and play. And Deal definitely looked aggressive on that last take as Rambis, also aggressive, goes to ground through traffic. Deal now bringing the ball up. Oh, good pass. Hayden almost not ready for it. Recovers, can't get the roll. Somehow flies in, trying to get her own miss, but a foul is called.
Man, has Muhammad just made a difference right here with the energy of Oregon. She's being patient. She's taking what the defense is giving her. You know, that's patience right there. Getting her feet under her and shooting that shot with poise.
Muhammad with 6 points, already above her average, which is just above 5+ per game. Didn't score last game against Michigan State as Oregon unfortunately watched a lead slip away late. Came up just short of an upset against the Spartans. Game prior to that, though, big upset on the road at 21st ranked USC at the time. Is Fiso aggressive again, but cannot get the shot to go, which has been a story for the Ducks so far.
I really like to see Fiso get into that mid-range. She's got such a great mid-range shot. Maybe that's what she needs to kind of get herself going again.
Fiso just 1 of 7 so far. Hayden squaring up on Rambis, makes contact and does get called for the offensive foul, which leads to a lot of boos here in Carver Hawkeye. That's Hayden's 2nd foul.
You know, this is a physical game, but you have to be aware of your body. I mean, that's a physical move on both sides. Yeah, that's a tough one, but if that's how they're calling the game, you have to be able to adjust on the fly. We saw it being called earlier, so.
Hayden heads to the bench. Stolke comes in for her, so Iowa now running a small ball lineup. Rambis gets the feed. Rambis gets it to go. 6-point game. Oregon right there.
Strong, strong move by Rambis.
Deal lets it fly.
Man. And that's range right there. I mean, she is shooting that ball with the confidence as if she was not a freshman.
Deal has not missed yet in this game. 10 points, 4 of 4 from the field. 10 to shoot as Kane has a 3-point response.
Man, what a nice step back, creating that space and creating her own shot.
Houston almost loses the handle. Both teams really heating up after a bit of a slow start shooting, at least early in the first quarter. It is a miscue, though, as Iowa throws it away. Oregon looking to take advantage. Fiso speeding forward. A little bit too much out of control. Iowa basketball. Coming up with the Ram Trucks halftime report, we've got stats and analysis from what's been a very interesting game here between the Ducks and Hawkeyes. Battle of the Birds. Also a closer look at Iowa's Hannah Stolke, who's had quite the career here in Iowa City. And, of course, Mike Hill is in studio to cover some of those big-time topics. So looking forward to hearing all of that coming up at the half, once again presented by Ram Trucks. Still under a minute to go, though. Deal with her first miss.
I don't hate that. She's attacking that defense, and she hadn't missed yet, so.
Bell starting to catch fire. Again, this Oregon team really shooting the ball well. 6 of their last 8 field goal attempts.
And they've got such capable shooters and just all-around scorers. You know, at any point, someone could put the game, you know, the game on their backs and take the game away.
Largest lead for Iowa was 12, now just 3. 5-second difference, game clock, shot clock before the half. Feuerbach open in the corner. However, somehow Stuelke taps it to Houston. What an athletic play. And the Ducks could not get the last shot off. Deal's been playing with a ton of aggression, playing with a lot of confidence so far in this game as the second half is now underway here from Iowa City. Once again, thrilled to have you here for some Big Ten women's hoops. This Iowa team looking for their 5th consecutive win. Last couple have not been pretty, they have been gritty. And they're looking to continue that streak, but maybe a little bit prettier at home tonight. Another shot goes out for the Oregon Ducks. Once again, shooting 38% from the floor, shooting better from 3 than from the field in the first half as Hayden gets it inside. But Mia Jacobs was trying to rip it away. Some discussion happening about whether it's a foul or a jump ball. A foul is called on Jacobs. You cannot believe it. Hands on her head there.
That's a tough one.
Jacobs' 3rd foul. Dealt with some foul trouble in the first half as well. First team foul here in this 3rd quarter. McCabe took some contact maybe, but nails the tray. Her first of the game and a big one for the Hawkeyes.
This might be her warming up and getting hot.
McCabe coming off a couple of tough shooting performances. 6 points, shot just 2 of 8 from beyond the arc, but is an elite 3-point shooter. Back a couple of games, went 1 of 9 from 3 against Penn State as Fiso comes up short. But the second chance goes, and Tute's been really good on the glass tonight.
I mean, that's what we're talking about, Fiso getting that mid-range and then having a Tute down there to recover if she doesn't make it. I mean, that's a big part of Oregon's game.
Coach Graves talking about how rebounding was going to be really important against a Iowa team that's been elite in that category. Stuelke, great passing, and the finish.
Oregon is staying in that zone defense, and they've almost got 2 players on Stuelke with it being that bottom of the defense, but, you know, let's see how they adjust.
The Ducks bringing out that zone to try to slow up or disrupt what this Iowa team likes to do inside. As Jacobs' 3 comes up short. McCabe pushing. Wright going to slow it up and take her time. Transition defense also one of the key points for the Ducks. However, Jacobs with some good D that time. Matute bringing it up the floor. Matute trying to go coast to coast. Hayden, though, defending her, gets called for the foul, which would be her 3rd. Boos ringing out here at Carver Hawkeye Arena, questioning the call.
You see here, Chit-Chat's got the ball on one side. She passes it over, and you can see how hard and how determined she is to get that ball. And it's a quick turn and shoot. I mean, it's really quite simple. We know how Iowa likes to get that ball moving, getting into the post, and have them just do their thing and work.
Well, it has been working. Iowa with the 22 to edge in points in the paint. Matute, though, really aggressive on the glass with 5 boards, and now with 5 points, make it 6 with the made free throw. Riding a little bit spark off some of those misses is Oregon shooting 37% from the floor. Chit-Chat right, but the ball goes the other direction.
This is starting to be a very physical game. It started a physical game, but I think it's just getting more and more, and I think the refs are keeping more of an eye out on it.
Stuelke got called for the foul. So certainly keep an eye on the fouling as this game progresses. Stuelke's 2nd. Team 2nd, and there's a whistle on the other side. So it's an offensive foul called on Oregon Sarah Rambis, which is her 1st. A little bit disjointed here early in the 3rd quarter. Nearly has it swiped. Hayes just couldn't quite reel in the bounce pass from Stolke.
Great ball movement. And you really saw how Fiso almost got that. She really anticipated that steal, and she'd have that down and into the rim.
What I do want to say is after that little miscue, Stolke just went over to Layla Hayes, patted her on the back as Atute puts it up, but too strong. Hayes the board, kind of patted her on the back, gave her a high five, said, "You're good, you're good." And that's the kind of leadership that this Hawkeyes team has seen from Hannah Stolke this season. Is this time she's double teamed, finds right, and right cashes in. Big three for the Hawkeyes.
Such a reliable player. You know she's going to be there in the big games and the big moments.
Right now with 6 points, her second made three. Pass over the top, taken away by Stolke. Stolke's been huge tonight.
And she has just been going on. She just got right around her, worked her way around and got that steal. You don't see that from a lot of post players.
Stolke with 9 points, 5 boards, 5 assists. In terms of what she's been doing in some of the other categories, now stacking up the steals as well. 7 to shoot though here for the Hawkeyes. Feuerbach. Stolke with a deep two, and Stolke is on fire.
And she knows it. She gave a little smirk.
Fans are on their feet here at Carver Hawkeye, thanks to Hannah Stolke. Atute, and it's an offensive foul. The fans are going nuts, and so is Hannah Stolke, taking over.
I mean, can we just, not only can she score, but she's passing it. Now she's playing defense. She's getting around her player and making moves. And last but not least, I mean, you're going to see. Let's see what's left of this game. There's quite a bit more game left. So
Stolke with the feed. Hayes just a little too strong as it hit the back of the rim. Should have been a 6 assist there for Stolke, who now has 11 points, also 2 steals. As I mentioned, the defensive activity. Rambis receives a great pass.
That's the type of offense that I'm used to Oregon playing. Getting the ball moving, those ball screens into rolls.
Three ball way too strong there. Long the rebound. Fiso. Still with just 3 points, 1 of 8. The Ducks leading scorer, averaging 15.5 per game. Seattle Washington native stepping into a bigger role this season for the Ducks. Can't find anywhere to go, though, on this possession. 8 now on the shot clock. Fiso trying to break down the defense. Fiso lets it fly.
There's that mid-range. And she hesitated on that 3, and I think it's almost better she didn't shoot that because, once you hesitate, it's, give or take whether you're going to make that one.
Fiso coming off a big game against Michigan State, led the way with 20 points, 3 boards, as Wright is starting to heat up from beyond the arc. Remember the name, Chin-Chin Wright.
And I love, there's no expression on her face. She's just here to play, here to win.
Very quick shot there from Rambis. Gives the Hawkeyes another possession. McCabe cannot get the roll. Hayes out of play. Some fans yelling for a foul or something. And then Vandy, another team that you can watch here on Fox on Monday. Lots of great women's hoops action to look forward to in the next week as Feuerbach goes to ground and there's a whistle.
The foul is on number 23, Sarah Rambis.
Rambis called for her second foul there, by the way. 4th team foul here, so keep an eye on the Hawkeyes getting to the bonus here in these last 3.5 and change. Feuerbach, the graduate student guard, heading to the free throw line. One of the important upperclassmen leaders, a team captain here for the Hawkeyes amongst a young lineup. 9 underclassmen on this roster for Iowa, including 3 sophomores who've been starting when Stremlo was starting. Now, granted, Feuerbach started tonight. But the youngest roster this Hawkeyes team has had in quite some time. Some of the upperclassmen that the coaches said it brings kind of a fresh energy, brings some excitement to the gym.
Yeah, instead of all the you know, old farts, as we call them on my team, which I was one of.
Muhammad continues her hot play. Meanwhile, yes, right, the old 22-year-old farts, just like you, Nikki. My goodness. How do you guys even make it to the gym as Teal drives it inside, playing with extreme confidence in this one. 12 points for Annie Deal to lead all scores. As we're talking about the freshman, she's been on fire.
It's gonna be good to see how she continues in this game. Again, not forcing anything and just letting it come to her. So we know Chit Chat has been really powerful, but now she's out of the game. So maybe this is the time that Deal steps up again.
Stremlow, nice pass to find Houston. 7 to shoot. Deal. Defended well by Tuhina. Feuerbach has to throw it up, misses everything, and it is a shot clock violation for the Hawkeyes. By the way, the Ducks in the prior possession turned over on the inbound, so no one able to score near those last two. Astera Tuhina, the 5'9" senior guard, transferring in after 3 seasons at Washington State, in to run the point here for the Ducks. I mentioned providing some energy off the bench, Nikki.
She's, like I said, she's such a great role player.
Although throwing up a 3 that rattles out. Great job by Muhammad to run down the rebounds. Rambis trying to go over Stolke. Ball loose. Deal comes up with it.
Great hustle as both teams on that play right there. No one willing to give up.
Feuerbach puts it on the deck. Gets fouled.
The foul was on number 0.
Tuhina guarding her there, got called for the foul.
That's her first, team 5th.
Her first, 5th team foul. Feuerbach heading to the free throw line. Mentioned it, the last team foul, that the Hawkeyes would be in the bonus. So they are now in the bonus for the last 2.
And we know sometimes, you know, when you get an injury early on, especially in conference, it's hard to come back and really be, especially in her position, that leader. And I just think she's done such a good job. We've talked about her defense and how she just is so gritty. And again, just like we talked about with Chit Chat, she gives everyone that energy and, you know, makes you want to play even harder. She's the head of the snake.
Feuerbach always plays so hard, so intense. Did miss about a month. Last played 12-10 against UConn before getting into last game against Indiana, returning from the ankle injury. Tonight is Tuhina, knocks down the corner 3.
Great ball movement by Oregon.
Tonight, though, Feuerbach's first start since that injury. So working back into things. Deal cannot miss! Aggie Deal, are you kidding me?
Wow. What a game she's having. And she deserves a heat check.
Largest lead of the game for the Hawkeyes.
Iowa offense looking a little stagnant compared to how they have been this game.
Under a minute to go here before the 3rd to 4th quarter break. That one rattles out. Stolke the board.
And I know we talked about it earlier, but there's not much of a transition presence, right? Both teams are getting back and getting positioned. So it's kind of giving both teams the opportunity to set up in that half court.
8-second difference now, game clock, shot clock. Stolke spinning in the lane. Oh, beautifully done. Hannah Stolke off the glass.
She has such great awareness when she's down there in the paint.
Last second, Tuhina can't get it to go. 16 points.
Just playing solid defense, and Oregon's just having a tough time trying to get through it.
Oregon with some work to do here as we begin 4th quarter action. Down by 16. Once again, this is Iowa's largest lead of the game. As Deal can't quite get through that traffic there down low. Trying to cut kind of up the middle of the lane. Meanwhile, this Iowa team has been really good in third quarters. On the season, they've been outscoring opponents by a significant margin. It's their best quarter. And then going back to their last game against Indiana, they were trailing by 16 at the half. Were able to really turn things around with their fourth quarter play as Deal collects the ball there. And then this game as well, outscoring Oregon 24-13 in the third, but it's a turnover, Ducks basketball.
I did notice Oregon is now back in a man. Let's see what they can do on defense.
They were pretty committed to that zone though, Nikki, as I know you kind of mentioned even at the half, wondering if they would adjust. Fiso has space beyond the arc, Stremlo the rebound. Sees Ava Heiden streaking ahead, who takes quite a bit of contact from Tilly Andrew, and the foul is called.
Yeah, I feel like Oregon gets a lot of their points off their steals and, transition, like we talked about with that fast pace, but they're not getting a lot of that.
And there Fiso was called for the foul, which is her second, team's first here in this fourth quarter. And you look at the sophomore sensation, Ava Heiden, for this Iowa Hawkeyes team, on the verge of being in double figures here tonight, making a massive improvement from her freshman campaign. Of course, seeing a lot more time this season, stepping into that starting role, but averaging 16 points, more than 7.5 boards per game coming into this one, leading the team also with a 63% field goal percentage, extremely efficient. Oregon, though, still trying to make up some ground here. Now down by 17. Fiso, the leading scorer, drives in and gets it to go.
That was a really great patient play by Oregon. They took their time and got the shot that they wanted and was highest percentage.
Deal! Oh my goodness! Innocent Deal with the new season high 18 points. Deal, of course, being a freshman, the season high is a career high as well. But my goodness, Addison Deal not missing anything. 4 of 4 from deep. Oregon, though, with the response. Fiso there starting to heat up these last couple possessions. Houston driving. Tilliander the rebound. Fiso pushing. Fiso.
See there, Iowa stopped that transition and making them get into a play.
Bell. Off iron. One thing about this Oregon team is they might be down, but certainly not out. Going back to the win over USC a week ago, 21st ranked at the time, they were down by 17. It was time for the third largest comeback in the Kelly Graves era for the Ducks, but they found a way to get it done. As Wright cannot find the bottom of the basket. Doesn't get the friendly roll here at home.
That's right. It just takes a little bit of energy to get the Oregon team going. And like you said, we've seen it. This game is not over by any means.
Got to start now, though, as Fiso has made a couple big baskets here this last stretch. That was a tough one under pressure. And there's a foul in the fight for the rebounds. Foul called on Muhammad, which is her second.
And like we talked about with Iowa's defense, you're doing a really good job of just staying in front of Fiso. Right? She's trying to get to her spots, but if there's someone right there in front of you, you're not getting that first step past your defense, then it's hard to create a shot for yourself.
Yeah, and this Oregon team has struggled a bit with that. They're now 19 of 51 from the floor, so taking plenty of shots, the same number as Iowa, just shooting 37%, while the Hawkeyes are shooting 46% from the floor. They've also earned 23 opportunities at the line, so they have the edge there. 9 on the shot clock. Deal draws the foul. Ari Long called for the foul there, her second. When you look at this Oregon team, though, a lot of players stepping into new roles. Mia Jacobs, the only transfer who's in the starting lineup, and something Coach Graves told me coming into this game is a lot of players who are returning, but who did not play as big of roles last year. So really having to adjust and kind of embrace what it means to lead the team versus be role players coming in off the bench on the team. Stolke spinning, oh, little too strong.
Man, what a move. I mean, that was some quick footwork right there.
Stolke really very mobile for her size. 6'2" senior forward, was a track star in high school. Iowa Gatorade Player of the Year. Once again, a Cedar Rapids, Iowa native, playing in her home state. As Atute spins, Atute gets it to go.
Great awareness right there by Atute, knowing where she's at on the court, especially in the paint.
Atute now with 8 points, 5 boards, and an efficient 3 of 5. Deal almost loses it. Deal goes to ground, took some contact there while being defended by Mia Jacobs. Jacobs does get called for that foul, which is her 4th. Addie Deal checks out after putting on a show here at Carver Hawkeye with 18 points, 7 of 9 from the floor, 4 of 4 from beyond the arc. McCabe checks back in, and Hannah Stolke takes some contact. The foul is called.
It looks like Oregon's getting a little bit more energy in that post area. I mean, they've got 3 people going after the rebound or going after the ball when it comes off the rim.
Stolke now heading to the free throw line for 2. Janiyah Williams checks in here for the Ducks. Stolke again really effective tonight, hits the free throw, now with 14 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Time's running out, but I was thinking earlier in the game, like she might be on triple-double watch when in the 3rd quarter she was in double figures in scoring with 6 and 6.
She has been so efficient in every part of this game.
Still leaves a couple on the board with a couple of missed free throws, as there's a whistle and a foul called on Kylie Feuerbach. Looking ahead for this Iowa team, they've got a tough upcoming stretch. Michigan State, and that's always a competitive game between the Hawkeyes and the Spartans, or at least the last few years as the ball's out of play. Fiso trying to make the pass. Stays here though, last touch by the Hawkeyes. We're looking at the upcoming schedule. Michigan State, a trip to Maryland, and then Ohio State. So 3 ranked teams to come here in the next 2 weeks. Fiso comes up short. Stolke the rebound.
Good shots, and usually high percentage. They're just not falling today for Fiso.
Fiso now 4 of 16 from the floor with 9 points. Did have a couple good ones here in the second half though. Stolke faces up. Stolke getting really comfortable in that mid-range, and she showcases it.
Man, and she had time. She had time to set it up, look at the rim. It's great, great play.
Kelly Graves calling the timeout here as the Oregon Ducks now trailed by 18 in the Big Ten, alongside the Iowa Hawkeyes, the 2 remaining unbeaten teams in conference play, as Feuerbach gets the steal. Feuerbach pushing, drives, and draws the foul.
There's that tenacity that we talk about, being so, I mean, just, you know, she just...
And so you could tell early, Nikki, that she was just shooting the ball, putting it on the deck with aggression, as well as on the other side for Oregon. Some of their leading scorers not producing in the way that they typically do. Mia Jacobs has dealt with foul trouble throughout this game, so that certainly has limited her. With 15 minutes played, just 1 point, and then Katie Fiso, I know we talked about not having the shooting night she's looking for with 9 points, but 4 of 16 from the floor. Someone who has been playing well, though, is Atute, as she had the open shot there, as you keep talking about, had the open shot, can't get it to fall.
They're good shots, they really are. They're just, they just don't seem to be connecting with that basket.
Iowa, meanwhile, 46% from the floor, 43 from beyond the arc. Is there some good passing until Feuerbach almost has it stolen away. Right. Finds McCabe, but there's a foul down low. Foul on Chit Chat right. As Atute went around, she was trying to get the kick out.
Those are always really good and smart defensive plays. You see them coming to you, they have no chance of stopping on a dive. It's just smart basketball.
Yeah, we've seen the Ducks take several charges here throughout this game, which is something they actually have done throughout the course of the season. However, this Iowa team is still shooting the ball pretty efficiently. As there's a deep three from Tuhina. She hits it from the parking lot.
Man, yeah, that was almost a Caitlin Clark at the logo.
Been a little bit since the fans have seen a logo three. Caitlin Clark, one of the greatest to ever play this game. Now, of course, a star in the WNBA, but NCAA's all-time scoring leaders. There's a foul called here on the other end. But this Iowa program still in very good hands after those back-to-back national title game runs, with Caitlin Clark really leading the charge. When you look at the amount of youth and talent on this roster, including on display tonight with Deal leading the way.
You know, they have really stayed true to Iowa basketball, which I personally really love. I was here during the Caitlin Clark era, and yes, it's different players, and we've talked about how they're younger. Yet you've got Jan Jensen, who has obviously been coaching, maybe not as a head coach, but she's been here. She knows what works, and she gets the pieces. And I think that's very special about Iowa.
Stolke. This is another free throw. Going back to Deal's performance, the first freshman to score this many points in a Big Ten game as a Tute drives and draws the foul. Since 2021, though, go back to that point, Deal with the most points by a freshman in a Big Ten game since 2021. And guess who did that? Caitlin Clark, back in 2021. So we just had to bring it full circle. I had to bring it full circle to the conversation you're having about Caitlin Clark. I do think we need to give Tute her flowers, though, for the way that she has played tonight, knocking down the free throw here on the three-point play. The only Oregon player into double figures in scoring, 5 boards, 1 assist, 4 of 7 from the floor. But she's been good. She's been aggressive on the glass. One of the players who's been able to knock down some shots. Has not been the case for everyone, at least based on their typical play.
And Tute has been really good at attacking the rim and just getting to where she wants to get to. And I think she has been successful. Now, some have not gone in, but that doesn't mean that they were not still very good drives.
Tute did just get called for a 4th foul, though, so foul trouble, unfortunately, maybe limiting that, but she's been really good, especially since being inserted into the starting lineup, a sophomore forward who started the last 4 games and really has been doing a great job, especially for her size on the glass, averaging 7.5 boards to lead the team, standing at 6 foot. That's something Coach Graves talked about at shoot-around, was just really being impressed and feeling like her being in the starting lineup gives them a little bit of an edge to start out games.
Well, and we've seen Iowa just pound it into the post. So it's, I mean, you could understand how she could be in foul trouble. She's trying to stop those posts on the Iowa team.
Tute, though, with another offensive board, but then a jump ball is called as she was immediately swarmed. Possession arrow will keep it here. Ava Hyden checking back in for Layla Hayes. One of the big-time freshmen who's heading out. Deal again leading the way here. Tute, right under the basket, gets the deuce.
Man, and she was open for what seemed like 3 seconds, which surely it wasn't, but yeah,
surely
man,
it wasn't, or there might have been a whistle. Meanwhile, a timeout called by Iowa head coach Jan Jensen. As we check out some of Tute's play here as of late.
Here we go. Okay, so it wasn't 3 seconds, but she was open and she was asking for that ball and finished it. Nice and simple. Maybe that's what Oregon is needing, just to go back to the simple style that they play.
Tute with 13 points to lead this Oregon Ducks team. And there you see hanging in the rafters, Caitlin Clark's number 22 jersey. Basketball royalty here, an alumni of the University of Iowa, now playing the W for the Indiana Fever. The Oregon Ducks, though, with their own royalty, and Sabrina Ionescu. Both players 3-time first-team All-Americans, Wooden Award winners, 26 triple-doubles for the Duck star, who was a part of the first Final Four run for that program, which was led by head coach Kelly Graves, an outstanding team. I actually talked to Coach Graves about that team today at shoot-arounds, because I was asking him if he feels like the last couple of years his teams have shifted to be more defensive than what we saw during that era, as Barhu, it's a 3, it's the offense there for the Ducks. Barnes hit a couple big threes. But the team now being so good defensively, going back to that era, they were among the leaders in the nation. Field goal percentage, effective field goal percentage. But Coach Graves said, I actually feel like our teams are quietly and sneaky good defensively during the next few days, as Hayden is deceptive and sneaky down low. Very crafty with that finish. Tuhina trying to find a two-tay, but it takes a deflection as Hayden was flying around trying to get in the passing lane.
And going back to your point, Oregon always seems to have just length, and that's hard. I mean, even in a soft quarter court press, which I've seen Coach Graves set up a couple times in the past couple games in conference, you just get a hand, and it's just so much more of a chance for the offense to get an unforced turnover.
That length producing more than 12 steals per game. Zatute continues her hot streak, 15 points. And this is suddenly a 9-point game. Look, it is not out of hand. Now, I know they're running out of time, but the Ducks have continued to fight.
And that's what we've talked about. They don't give up, you know, and I think that really shows for the future of Oregon how, you know, they could potentially just make it to the point of finishing out games.
The high-low game, though, so effective. Stokey to hide it, a thing of beauty for this Iowa team, something they worked on at shoot-around today, as the fans are now on their feet for the final minute, and there's a whistle for a foul. Foul called on Janiyah Williams for the Oregon Ducks, which leads it to be Iowa basketball. Take a look at the upcoming schedule for Iowa. Mentioned it earlier that it does get a lot tougher, at least just based on the ranked opponents. That's not to say every game in the Big Ten is tough, but you've got Michigan State just ahead, Maryland, Ohio State, and a top 5 UCLA team just a couple weeks away. Oregon, meanwhile, is at Wisconsin on Sunday in a game you can watch over on the Big Ten Network. Time on the side of the Hawkeyes. They're going to try to burn it down here in the last 30 seconds. 7 on the shot clock now. McCabe. And there's a foul called in the fight for the rebound. Zatute went to the ground. Foul called on Hayden, which is her 4th. So here's a look at the full upcoming schedule for the Ducks. I mentioned that they have a trip to Madison on Sunday. Then it's games against Minnesota and Penn State before heading to Rutgers and Maryland. So finally a stretch without some ranked opponents for Kelly Graves' side. And there's a 3-ball that goes down for Tuhina.
I mean, she has got some range and doesn't need much space to shoot it.
8-point game here with just under 20 to go. Pause in play at the moment. And a 30-second timeout is called by Iowa head coach Jan Jensen, as she wants to make sure her team can grow in Big Ten play. Looking to make it 6-0, which would tie them atop the standings with a top 5 UCLA team. Well, Iowa would also improve to 15-2 after these final 20 seconds. Oregon off to a 2-4 start, but again, I feel like that's deceptive, Nikki, based on how good this team is, just because how tough of a start they've had in terms of Big Ten play.
Yeah, they're not losing these games with high-ranked teams by 20, right?
Yep.
I mean, they are playing right there, and I think that's the thing. They just got to figure out how to finish it out.
4-point loss to Michigan State for Oregon. To your point about coming up just short against some of these top opponents. Strimlo, though, going to dribble it out. Fans on their feet here at Carver Hawkeye Arena.